So now we will start with heredity. The rules of heredity determine the process by which traits and characteristics are reliably inherited. So the rules which we are going to study in this chapter, these rules will determine how the traits and characteristics are transferred or inherited. So now we will start with inherited traits or characters. So what is inherited traits or characters? Inherited traits are the characteristics passed down from parents to offspring through genes. So what is inherited traits? These are the characteristics or these are the traits which are passed from parents to their offspring, and this will be done with the help of genes. What are genes? Genes are the part of DNA. These traits are present at birth and are determined by the genetic information inherited from both parents. So these traits which are there, these traits will be present at the time of birth itself. So by birth, the individual get these traits from its parents with the help of genetic information which is inherited from both maternal and paternal parents. Example includes eye color, hair length, skin color, etc. So these all the basic characters which are present at the time of birth, these all are inherited traits, and these are inherited from their parents, both from father and mother. And from where these will inherited? These will inherit through genes. What is gene? Genes are nothing but these are the parts of DNA. Now we are going to move with some important terms. So these are some terms which are very important and which we are going to use repeatedly in this chapter while studying the next topics. Like the first term is acquired character. Then we can use dominant trait, recessive trait, what is DNA and what is gene. Just now we have used the word DNA and gene. So these all we will study a little bit in detail. So what is acquired character? We have two type of characters. One is inherited character and one is acquired character. Inherited, just now we have seen the character which is passed from parents to the offspring and which is present at the time of birth. That is called inherited, which is coming through genes. So that is inherited. And what is acquired? Acquired means which is gained. The acquired traits or characters develop in response to the environment. So once the individual take birth and start living into the environment, due to the response of this environment, by the action of this environment, some of the traits which are acquired by the individual, which are gained by the individual by itself, those are called acquired characters. These are the ones that a person develop during its lifetime. These are not passed from one generation to another generation. So I hope you are understanding. Once the individual take birth, once it start living into the environment, depending on the changes in the environment, he will start doing changes himself or herself. So those all changes which it has acquired during its lifetime are called acquired characters. For example, we have seen in the textbook, NCERT textbook, when the beetle, when there will be no food production or the amount of food will be less, the beetle will decrease their size. And as the food amount of food increase, they start increasing their size. So decreasing the size and increasing the size, that is weight, depending on the amount of food, it is the acquired character, the character which they have gained by themselves due to the environmental changes. So such characters are called as acquired character. For example, if you see human beings, so by birth we will not be knowing the computer basics or how to drive a car or how to drive a motorcycle. These all things we will learn in our lifetime. So those are called as acquired characters. And whatever skin color, hair color, eyes color which we have, those all are inherited from our parents to us. So I hope you understood what is acquired and inherited. Now we will see the next one, that is dominant traits or dominant character. So there are two type of traits. One is dominant, one is recessive. Both we will study together. So dominant trait will be expressive. Expressive means which can be seen in individual. That is called dominant trait. Has one or two dominant alleles or genes represented by capital letter. And recessive trait means it is only expressed when an individual has two recessive alleles represented by small letter. So it is nothing but, so dominant genes or dominant trait means it is the character which will be shown by capital letter. For example, imagine we have two plants. One plant is tall, so its gene will be shown by capital T, capital T. So capital letter is used by dominant trait. So capital T, capital means this plant is a tall plant. Tall plant. And if I take a capital T and small t, see, even in this case, one T is capital. So in this case also, this plant will be a tall plant. So it is not compulsory that both should be capital. Either one should be capital or both should be capital. Then that gene will be expressive, and that is called as dominant. And what is recessive? Here, this will be expressed when both the genes are present. So, what is dwarf? Dwarf means short. So, when this dwarf gene will be expressed, or what is dwarf plant? The dwarf plant will have both the alleles, that is small t and small t. If I take one t capital, again it will become a dominant. It will become a tall plant. So if you want to see the dwarf plant or a short plant, both small letters should be there. So this is called as recessive. Recessive, it is a trait which cannot be seen in presence of this dominant gene. For example, if I want to explain, imagine here we have one tall plant. We are going to study this in detail afterwards, but still I am explaining this in this topic, dwarf plant. So imagine these are both are pure plants. So tall I will denote by capital T, capital T. Dwarf I will denote by small t, small t. When I will cross these both the plants, what will happen? From capital T, one gene I will write T, and for small t, T I will write that. One gene is small t. When these both are crossed, we will get a plant with capital T and small t genes. If you focus here, one T is capital and one T is small. So capital is dominant and this will be expressed, and therefore this plant will be always tall. So what is dominant? Dominant traits are the traits which are expressed. Recessive traits are the traits which are depressed. But when these are depressed, in presence of dominant traits. If both are small t, it will be expressed. But any one gene, if it is capital, then it will be depressed. So I hope you understood. So in case of human being, we get the skin color from both father as well as mother. But whichever is expressed, whichever is dominant, that will be seen in us, and whichever gene is depressed will not be seen in us. Therefore, if you compare our skin color with our brother and sister, little bit difference will be there. So one will be little bit of like mother, one will be little bit like father. So it is just due to dominant and recessive gene. I hope you understood this. Now we'll move to the next. Now the next is DNA. What is DNA? It is nothing but deoxyribonucleic acid is the molecule that carries genetic information for the development, functioning, growth, and reproduction of all known organisms. So it is one molecule which carries genetic information from one generation to next generation. So which genetic information? The information means it will be having information related to development, functioning, growth, also reproduction. So DNA is made responsible which carries the information from parents to their offspring. The next is gene. What is gene? A gene is a basic unit of heredity, a segment of DNA that contains instruction of building specific protein or functional RNA molecule and passed from parent to offspring. So if you see the DNA, it will be of double helical structure like this. So this is the structure of DNA where will be present of all the molecule bonds, bases, sugar, phosphates, etc. So the segment of this DNA, a particular segment of this DNA is called as gene, and this particular segment of DNA will have the instruction for building specific protein or functional RNA molecule which is passed from parents to offspring. So genes are present in DNA, and DNA, it is the one which carries genetic information from parents to offspring. So I hope you understood this, some of the basic terms which will help you to study this whole chapter in detail. Now the next we are going to see is rules for the inheritance of traits, and that is nothing but it is also called Mendel's contributions. The rules for inheritance of such traits in human beings are related to the fact that both the father and the mother contribute practically equal amount of genetic material to the child. So what is the rule of inheritance says? It says that whenever any new individual take birth, in that new individual, whatever genetic material is transferred, it is transferred from both father and the mother, and the amount we should be always equal. So equal amount of genetic material is transferred from the father and mother to the child. So this is the rule of inheritance. This means that each trait can be influenced by both the paternal and maternal DNA. Means whenever a male gamete and a female gamete fuse, both will have 23 chromosomes. 23 chromosomes will mix up, fuse, and we will get 23 pairs of chromosomes. So whatever traits we have, maybe a skin color, maybe a hair length, maybe a eye color, for every trait, both the paternal and maternal DNA is responsible. But whichever is dominant, that will be seen in the individual. Thus, for each trait, there will be two versions in each child, dominant and recessive. Gregor Mendel formulated rules for inheritance after thorough understanding and experimentation. So this all the study is done by Gregor Mendel, and after understanding and doing the experiment, he has given some of the rules of inheritance which we are going to study in this chapter. So Mendel used number of contrasting visible characters of garden pea plant. So Mendel has used a plant called garden pea plant for his experiment, and in that garden pea plant he has used some of the characters like wrinkled and round seed, means shape of the seed. He has used tall and short plants, means height of the plants. Also he has used color of the flowers, that is white and violet. So these are the characters, visible characters, which he has used in his experiment. He took pea plants with different characteristics, and what he did in his experiment, he took a tall plant, then he took a short plant, he crossed those plants and he got a progeny after crossing. And after getting a progeny, he calculated the percentages of tall and short plant, and then he gave some of the rules. Why he chose the pea plant? This is the question which will be asked many times in exam. The reason for Mendel selected garden pea plant for his experiment, and the reasons are they are small and easy to grow. If you see the plant, garden pea plant is very small and very easily it can be grown, and therefore it is used. Second reason is they are self-pollinated, thus self and cross-pollination can be easily performed. These plants are bisexual, means they have both male and female gamete. They have anther as well as they have egg, ova, ovary, and therefore in those plants we can do self as well as cross pollination, which will be easy for the experiment. Then this plant has a short lifespan. after getting after crossing, when we want to see the new individual, easily it can be seen because its lifespan is very short. So that is one of the reason. And the fifth reason is the different physical characteristics were easy to recognize and study. So as I told here, Mendel has used visible characters. So there are many characters in the pea plant which can be easily studied and recognized for the study. So recognized for his experiment, and therefore because of these five reasons, Mendel has chosen garden pea plant for his experiment. So remember these points also. Many of the times it will be asked or it may be asked for multiple choice. So remember this.